And now, the moment you've all been waiting for. The 2024 Book Review Annual Wrap-Up. Brought to you by...
Here's my Jackie Shop.
Hey guys, it's Jared. Welcome back to the channel. How are you guys? It's the end of 2024. How you guys feeling?
We're so excited to see you.
Hopefully the holidays have been treating you well. We all have reason to be excited. The year that was is almost over, and we're going to talk about the books that have been read on this channel. Some of those books have been reviewed. Not all the books that are going to be presented have been reviewed, but just know I have plans to review those books. Typically what I like to do is if there's a series or something, I'll read the whole series and then usually a spoiler-free review of the entirety of that series. It just seems to work a little better that way for me so that I don't have to make as many videos. Hopefully as this channel continues to grow, we'll get better at making videos and we'll start seeing them a little more often. Without further ado, let's talk about our wrap-up. First of all, some of the numbers for my first year on this channel. I read 59 books this year. That includes short stories, novellas, novels, and I finished a lot of different series this year. But I will be doing reviews for some of these books that you may not have seen reviews for. Just keep that in mind. Some of the other numbers this year, I have 39 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate that. I would love to maybe double that number this next year. But for those of you who have subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It helps create the drive for me to do this as much as I have been doing it. In fact, I'd like to do it more if more of you decide to join the channel. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. You guys rock. Some other numbers, I've had 1,367 views on my channel as of recording. That's not including the shorts that I have. Shorts typically seem to get a few more views. When you add that to the total views for my videos, that comes to 2,271 views total. So I'm gonna shoot for like a 5,000 views goal next year. I think that'd be great. My most viewed video was my Lords of Uncreation video by Adrian Tchaikovsky. That was my second video that I ever made, and so I think that I'm kind of proud of that. Meh. Yeah, so, you know, Robert De Niro face. Yeah, I'm proud of that, yeah. Also, my part 2 of the Expanse series got 153 views at a close second for that video. So thank you all for watching those. Totals, again, I think I did 4 shorts, 2 bookshelf reviews, like what's in my library, and 18 book reviews. Not for 18 books necessarily, but for groupings of books and whatnot. I try to do more than just one for most of my videos, kind of how I discussed before. I had one book that I didn't finish. It was 5 Broken Blades by Mia Corland. That book just didn't grab me at all. It was all very flat characters. It seemed like it was very romantically charged, almost to the point where the only character motivations were sexualized ideation. It's just not my bag. I can't do the romantasy stuff where fantasy and romance become this conglomeration. It's over the top for me. I just can't get into it. Don't get me wrong, the books that a lot of romantasy authors are making are very beautiful. They have like sprayed edges and really intricate dust jacket design and artwork. They all kind of start looking like each other as well, and so they kind of cancel each other out in the whole thing. So I kind of avoid that whole section of the bookstore altogether. I tried to read ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Couldn't do that one either. I'm just not into fairies falling in love with humans and all the fae and the weird stuff like that.
I hate that.
Just kind of over my head. Not really interested in that.
I hate that. Don't you just hate that?
I guess I'm more of a grim, dark fantasy, classic fantasy, sci-fi. I don't know. The more real it is, the less glittery, glossy-eyed the books are, the better, I think. That's just me, though.
Cold-hearted bastard.
We could talk about the books of the year for me.
It's the moment that you've been waiting for.
5 robes for all of these. There are 11 in total. 2 of them are novellas, and 9 of them were regular novels. And there's nothing regular about them, honestly. Probably used the wrong word there.
Yes, you did.
just standouts. So a lot of them were new authors, new people that I haven't really read before, but now that I have read them, I'm definitely interested in reading them more, going out and seeking out more of their writing. So we'll just knock out the two novellas first. The first one was The Jade Center of Janloon by Fonda Lee. I was just so happy to read the Greenbone Saga characters, the world again. I'd already finished the Greenbone Saga, Jade City, Jade War, and Jade Legacy, and they are just fantastic reads. Her character work, her world building, her magic system, the urban fantasy element of it all. Going back to read Jade Center of Janloon was just a welcome revisiting to that world again, and it tells a wonderful little story about a Jade Setter and new characters with some of the familiar characters from the stories that you know. And that one was a great 5-robe score. Just amazing how that book was so entertaining, so wonderful. I just love going back to it. I wish that Fonda Lee could go back, but check out my video if you're interested in that one a little bit more. The other novella that got 5 robes was This Is How You Lose the Time War by Max Gladstone and Amal El-Mohtar. And that in its own was like a literary masterpiece. Totally a departure from the Jade Setter book. Just the prose that came through in that book. It was a science fiction book, but the future was told in such a way that you really didn't see all the science fiction stuff about it. You did see 2 compelling characters going through this emotional transformation that happens over the period of the Time War. If you'd like to know more about that book, check out my video that I did with that one and the Kaiju Preservation Society. Just a fantastic read. So 5 robes all the way.
Dang.
And now to the 9 novels that I read this year that were 5 robes, golden robes all the way. And the first one is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, which is part of the Nevernight trilogy, which is Nevernight, God's Grave, and Dark Dawn. And I did a review of those books. My review was kind of iffy. If you'd like, go check it out. I always appreciate that. But the first book, Nevernight, got full 5 robes for me. It was just such a pleasant surprise, a departure from a lot of the things that I was already reading. And it was just visceral, very dark, assassin fantasy, just a fantastically gritty revenge tale. And the main character, Mia Corveri, was just a compelling read to get behind her as well. I really enjoyed her character. Jay Kristoff does wonderful character work, great surprises in his plot work, and his world building was just second to none. It was really a fantastic story. I can't wait to read Jay Kristoff's Empire of the Vampire and Empire of the Damned. I think his 3rd book, the ending of that trilogy, is coming out either in 2025 or early 2026. That's going to be an amazing trilogy. I haven't started that one yet, but I did finish the Nevernight trilogy. Fantastic. The first book was the best one, I think, probably just because it introduced all the new characters and the new world and everything so well. And the subsequent books were amazing too. I think I gave them both 4.9 or 4.8. But definitely recommend that as a read. My next 5-robe novel is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I know I haven't done a review for that one, but I'm looking to do a review for the next 2 books as well as that one. So make it kind of a trilogy. I do know that he is going to be writing a 4th book. Could be coming out in 2025, 2026. No one really knows. Although they have somehow received word that he is in process or in progress with writing a new Locke Lamora story. So that should be fun. Red Seas Under Red Skies was great as well. Again, I want to do a review for those 2 and A Republic of Thieves together. So be looking for that video in 2025.
We shall see.
Up next is a total surprise author, surprise everything. Kate Atkinson. She did Life After Life. I did a review of that. Total surprise. 5-star material. Just a fantastic read. I didn't know what to expect other than it was called reincarnation fiction. So what do you do with that? Go read it. It's fantastic. It adds so much perspective. Kate Atkinson really grasps the human element and things that motivate their personalities and character traits. And Kate Atkinson masterfully crafts these just unique people around this family that just... It's just fantastic. And Life After Life is the first book, and then there's a follow-up book called A God in Ruins, which also got 5 robes. I plan to do a review for that in 2025 as well. It is a fantastic read. Kind of follows the brother of the main character from Life After Life, and he's a World War II Air Force pilot. And it's... eye-opening, to say the least. I haven't read anything by her that I felt was a waste of time. It's not the most action-packed stuff, but you are left impacted by the story. It never leaves you. Kate Atkinson has a visceral way of getting there. She just masterfully creates these characters, and they all just jump off the page. And the story, it's just uplifting, and it's tragic, and all of the stuff in between. A God in Ruins is just, wow. A step up. I wish it could give it more of a better rating than Five Robes, but those two books were just compelling to me. Just amazing stuff. So Kate Atkinson, go out and pick up her stuff.
It's fantastic.
Another book from 2024 that is a Five Robes rating is It by Stephen King. It is a great book. It was well written. It got 5 robes. Go check out my video if you haven't seen it. You'll see why. So, It, 5 robes. Next up is Howling Dark by Christopher Ruocchio. And Christopher Ruocchio is a new author, but he's kind of blazed onto the scene, at least on the booktube community. And his books are kind of a homage to the Dune world and Frank Herbert's work, but they're unique. It's like a science fiction fantasy. So there's scientific elements, but there's also something else out there that shouldn't and can't be explained by science. And so he masterfully crafts these stories through a first-person narrative of Hadrian Marlowe. And I have read the first 2 books and the first 2 novellas this year, and I plan to continue reading. He plans to have the book maybe by the end of 2025, the final book, the 7th book. I believe it's going to be a big chonker. He has said that it's going to be probably the biggest of the Sun Eater series, but it will be the last one, and he's wanting to make it really count. He's a great author. He's got wonderful prose. He's kind of a level up from a lot of other authors because of how thorough his writing is and how really precise the wording is, and the first person narrative really makes that character just super compelling. The Hadrian Marlowe character, who is the narrator through all 7 of these books, of the main story books. There are some short story Tales of the Sun Eater collections out there. There are short stories as well that he has written to kind of fill in some of the world of the Sun Eater saga. But man, he is coming in hot, and I definitely recommend picking up Christopher Ruocchio's stuff. There's something different about it, something edgy, something just I don't know. I really like it. It's action packed. It's weird. It's got compelling ideas in it. But Howling Dark is the second book in that series, and it just punched me. It's going to be something I can't wait to get into, but I'm going to take my time. Awesome. Another 5-robe book is The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu. It's book 2 of the Dandelion Dynasty. I plan to review that series as a whole once I finish it. I'm about to start and read the 3rd book, The Veiled Throne. I'm excited about it. It's a, what do they call it? A silk punk fantasy. Kind of an Asian-inspired fantasy. A really fantastic read. The world that it is told in is just unique. Something about it feels very Eastern, very much its own. The author, his prose is very straightforward. It's not too flashy, which is kind of nice because it just gives you everything you need. There's never like really a wasted word in it. And Ken Liu is very underrated, I think, in this aspect, because these 4 books that he put out for the Dandelion Dynasty are going to be worth a good review. So once I finish book 4 of that, I will be putting up a video, but suffice it to say, book 2, The Wall of Storms, was fantastic. I couldn't think of a thing that really was bad about it. And Ken Liu has also helped to translate books for Cixin Liu and other Chinese authors, and Cixin Liu's short story collections. Very underrated. I highly recommend going to pick him up. Anything that you see his name on is going to be quality. So
let's check it out.
The last 2 books, one I just completed, and I will do a more in-depth book review for it, but it is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. It's my first M.L. Wang adventure, and honestly the book that put her on the map was something called The Sword of Kaigen, and I have the book. I haven't read it yet. I'm just holding out a little bit, I think, because when I know something is good, I don't want to just jump on it. I want to make sure I'm ready to absorb the goodness. It's kind of like enjoying an ice cream. I want to find the right place, the right moment to just sit down and enjoy that wonderful ice cream and not have anything distracting about it, and just enjoy it for what it is.
My dad has diabetes.
And that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. But after reading Blood Over Brighthaven, man, it's making it hard for me to not want to read The Sword of Kaigan, because she is a great author. M.L. Wang is really good at characters, and the main character in Blood Over Brighthaven is compelling as all get out. The story, the world, the magic system, wow. I don't want to say too much. It's one of the most unique magic systems I've come across because it has a cost to it that seems a little more than the average magic system. So Blood Over Brighthaven, it's just a solo story, standalone novel. It's 5 robes, M.L. Wang. Go get it. I'll have a review at some point about it, I promise.
I'm outraged. You promised me dog or higher.
And the last book that I read this year that was 5 robes is one I just completed. And if you haven't seen it, my Bound and Broken video I just published not too long ago for the first 4 books in that series. The 5th book, well, 2 are novellas and 2 are novels. So I guess it's technically the 3rd novel of War and Ruin. I finished it and wow. All I can say about Ryan Cahill is every book that I've started with from the fall to of War and Ruin, they've all just gradually been getting better. There's nothing wrong with the first story either, but as the books chronologically are being read, you're starting to notice that the author is getting way better at their prose. The plots already seem pretty well thought out. I don't think that the way he makes his plots or his characters or the way he opens up his world, his new magics, all the novelties, the new things that come up in every book, that just opens that door just slowly, and he continues to do that in that big chunker of War and Ruin, and he's got more. There's so much more. And I thought at some point this was gonna kind of start slowing down a little bit, or I don't know. But he's just keeps pushing forward, and I know he's got a grand plan in mind. I think his next book of Empire and Dust is going to be a chonker as well. If it's anything like of War and Ruin, I'm gonna be excited to read this one, and I can't wait for of Empires and Dust to come out. It's gonna be pretty awesome. I wonder if Ryan's feeling any pressure from this, because people are starting to really like his stuff. And he's still a self-published author. However, I don't think for much longer. This guy's got something really special. So I'm flabbergasted. I have no idea where this guy came from, but he's probably one of the biggest surprises this year for me in terms of authors. Which brings me to, who's the biggest surprise?
Who? Him? Who? Him? Who? Him? Him? Who? Me?
Ryan Cahill's for sure up there. Kate Atkinson, and I think Jay Kristoff split 3 ways, but Kate Atkinson is not a fantasy writer. Ryan Cahill is, and Jay Kristoff has kind of got the dark, gritty stuff that I really enjoy as far as a new author. I can't wait to read anything else that may come my way from them. I picked up other things from Kate Atkinson. I can't wait to get Ryan Cahill's new book. I am going to read Ryan Cahill's novella, The Ice. And then after that, I'm just waiting for whatever comes out next. And Jay Kristoff, he's got his last Empire book of the vampire type trilogy that's coming out soon too. So I may just hold off on the first 2 and wait till that trilogy's done, and then I'll read those, and boy, we'll have another review. So after all of the 5 robe reviews, which one is the book of 2024 for me? Boy, I'm really gonna have to think about that one. Maybe the Jeopardy music. It's such a hard choice. The book of 2024 for me is going to be a tie. And between all of the 11 books that received 5 robes this year, the tie goes to Kate Atkinson's A God in Ruins and M.L. Wang's Blood Over Brighthaven. These guys earn my top award for the year. I think part of the reason for this one is I've never read M.L. Wang, and M.L. Wang blew me away. I did not expect a story like this at all. It was so compelling. It was so interesting. It was a constant page turner. I enjoyed the uniqueness of her magic system, the magic world. The world building was so deftly handled. Everything felt so balanced. She had wonderful prose, impactful word choices. The bad characters you really hated and the great characters you really pulled for. There were a lot of morally gray characters, and the way that the book kind of wraps up, it seems to be the right choice. And I can't say enough about that book. Amal Wang is something else, and she doesn't have a whole lot of material out there in terms of books, but I think that part of the reason is probably because she really cares about putting out a quality product. And she's been a self-published author for several years. I'm not surprised that somebody may, if they haven't already, picked her up as a traditional publishing agent. So that one, and then Kate Atkinson just kind of blew me away. Again, this book, I thought it would be kind of second place to Life After Life, which was the first book about the sister Ursula Todd, but about the brother Teddy, this one was just somehow more impactful to me. Something about this book I just can't get over. It's just so self-reflective, and I did tear up a few times in this book, and those were honest tears, I tell you. Well earned, Kate Atkinson.
Well done!
What's up next year? We're going to keep doing this channel. We're going to go for year 2. We're going to try to double up on subscribers. We're going to try to double up on views. We're going to try to double up on books read. No, that's probably 100 and some odd books. I don't know. I'm just going to try to keep pacing. But things that I'm looking forward to, there's a host of new releases. As I said, Ryan Cahill's The Empires and Dust novel is coming out. The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. That's a new trilogy that he's going to be writing. I can't wait. I've heard good things about it. A lot of booktubers get early advanced reader copies. Unlike us regular folk, we got to wait until May before it comes out.
Bullshit.
But man, anything by Joe Abercrombie, go get it. I can't wait for next year for The Devils. We've got the Sun Eater saga by Christopher Ruocchio. I'm going to start Red Rising maybe this year. Pierce Brown has got book 7 on the works right now. I don't think he's going to have it until 2026 though. I mean, it's your last book of 7. You might as well take your time. Brandon Sanderson's new book just got here, Wind and Truth. His books are so chonky, but I somehow have this like allegiance to him because of how he finished Robert Jordan's books. So I want to give him another try, but I don't know. I mean, if Wind and Truth, it's right here. If Wind and Truth is in any way better than Oathbringer or Rhythm of War, I'll probably be a happy reader. I don't know that it's going to be a 5-robe reading for me, just because Sanderson sometimes just gets too wordy for me, but I'm going to try to finish reading that, but I don't know if I'll continue to be a fan of Sanderson's after that. Something about it. But what's great, there's so much other stuff out there. Maybe reading the next book in Locke Lamora. There's a new R.F. Kuang book coming out. Fonda Lee has a new book that's coming out in January that she co-wrote with Bruce Lee's kid, I think. So they're doing like some pretty cool stuff. The book that broke her heart by Mark Lawrence is the 3rd book in the Library trilogy is coming out. I'm curious to see if Lynn Buchanan, who wrote The Dollmakers, is going to come out with a 2nd book. That was an excellent book. She's kind of an understudy of Brandon Sanderson. Brando Sando. It's Brandon Sanderson's understudy, I think. But I thought she wrote a very great book in The Dollmakers. Very impressed by that. And of course, you know, the obligatory, will Patrick Rothfuss and George R.R. Martin ever write another book again? We'll never know. We'll never know. I guess do your thing, guys. There's a lot of other people that are wanting to take over your place, but I mean, in a way, you kind of have instilled yourselves into the foundation of fantasy.
I am the number 1 most impactful artist of our generation. I am Shakespeare in the flesh.
But you haven't built much in a while, so I don't know. I don't know what to do. It feels like a Roman Colosseum that's only half built. You can only just see a couple pillars and some stands and whatnot, but everything else is starting to crumble. The longer things take time to get finished. So yeah, guys, what a year.
You have my warmest congratulations.
I was thinking about putting up a list of all the books. I wonder if I could do like a crawl, like a thing. All the books that I read this year. The names, the authors. So anyway, Guys, thank you. We'll be seeing you in 2025. Hopefully I'll have this video up by Christmas, and in that case, Merry Christmas to you all. Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and all the good things. If you celebrate, you don't celebrate, you're all out there, you're all a part of humanity. I accept you.
Who do I love? You do I love.
Thanks for checking in, guys. And as always, on this channel, we say, keep reading.